how much it's already gone to the movie? Bolsonaro's. Good? Shall we do the math? How many millions have already gone to Bolsonaro's movie? And we know very well that the suspicion is that the money didn't go to the movie. Why, Andrea Gonçalves? Because it's not a production that spent so many millions. Just regarding Daniel Borcaro, according to Flavio Bolsonaro and Eduardo Bolsonaro, 134 million reais was supposed to go to the movie. And the ones who said that were themselves. It was Flavio and it was Eduardo Bolsonaro. That the 134 million that were being demanded by Flavio Bolsonaro from Daniel Borcaro, 134 million from Daniel Borcaro was supposed to be for the movie. Out of that, 62 million were paid for the movie. Then we find out that parliamentary amendments went to the movie. We find out, right? There's even a new investigation by the São Paulo Civil Police into 108 million. And the suspicion is that this money may have gone to the movie. And money from parliamentary amendments. And also the suspicion and the investigation is that the money went to the movie. So adding it all up and doing the math, right? 108 million from the São Paulo City Hall, 2 million from Mario Frias, federal deputy and producer of the movie, 1 million from Carla Zambelli. While she was a deputy, she allocated a 1 million amendment to Karina's NGO, who is the producer of the movie. 1 million from Marcos Polon, 200,000 from two from Gildiniz, 150,000 from Biakichis. And the 134 million, all of that would already add up to 246 million reais, not counting what will still be discovered. And it was. And for the movie. So like this, how do you explain this, guys? For God's sake, God. Can someone explain this? Then the producer of the movie said that the movie cost 69 million reais. That's really expensive. That movie with scenes that look kind of cartoonish, almost like a comedy, you know, that is never worth even 69 million reais. But anyway, the movie's producer said the movie cost 69 million reais. And the rest, where did it go? If it costs that much, I don't believe it. Then, yesterday, there was an operation by the São Paulo Civil Police. In the scheme, according to the federal police, of money laundering and of embezzlement of public funds. The suspicion is that the money went into the movie. And the movie? Karina Gama. Karina, the producer of the movie, sole owner of Go Up. That's interesting. I didn't know. Go Up, the film's production company, only got authorization from Ancine to produce the film in June 2025. In other words, it was Bolsonaro's film production company without even having authorization for it, because it had never produced a film before. It was a company created specifically to produce Bolsonaro's film. Whose Karina was and has always been like that, Mario Frias. Federal deputy, also the executive director of the film. And Karina was the sole partner, the owner of the company. There was no one else. It seems to me that the company was set up just to make Bolsonaro's film. And this Karina, from all indications, was used as a front. So the police yesterday launched an operation against Karina. And an agency of the São Paulo city government. The scheme involved 108 million reais. The suspicion is that part of the money was diverted to the film. She won the public tender without any experience in the field. And then she hired an intermediary company to provide the service. In other words, she didn't have the technical capacity or anything to do that. In other words, she shouldn't even have won the bidding process. Very possibly, here we are also dealing with the crime of fraud in the bidding process. Because she didn't have the technical capacity, she didn't have the background, she didn't have the know-how to provide the Wi-Fi internet distribution service, 5,000 spots throughout the city of São Paulo. She shouldn't even have won the bidding process. So we already have very likely an initial crime there, which is the fraud in the bidding process. But why this interest in making Karina the winner and the one who received 108 million reais? That's what was in the contract initially. 3 more amendments were made with contributions of more than 49,000 reais. 49,000, what a trifle. When we talk about a Bolsonaro movie, it's always millions. More than 49 million reais extra. A total of almost 160 million reais came out of public funds and went to Karina's company, the producer of Bolsonaro's movie. And the suspicion is that there was fraud in the bidding process for her to get in and secure this money. And the suspicion is that the money went to the movie. It's a complicated situation, isn't it? Why is there so much money for the movie? Very possibly Karina is a front. And to make things worse, it's being discovered that she also had a contract. Guess with whom? I've already explained to you where are the centers of this Banco Master fraud. Federal District with Ibanez Rocha, Claudio Castro, and São Paulo. Federal District. She also signed a contract with the Federal District under Ibanez Rocha. Who? Andrea Gonçalves. This Karina. Soon we'll find out that she also has a contract with the mayor's office with the government of Rio de Janeiro. Just wait. Just wait, guys. Soon we'll find out that she also has a contract with the government of Rio de Janeiro under Claudio Castro. And soon we'll find out where the money went, Andrea. To the movie. We'll talk about more details on that, especially later on. But it's such a horrible situation, guys. This movie, from all indications, was used as a front to launder dirty money. To launder public money for paying bribes. To embezzle money, I want. Because this movie didn't even cost 69 million. And you want to tell me that all this money went to the movie? Who exactly got it? And we already know. That Daniel Vorcaro's money, for example, didn't go to Entre Entretenimentos, which was the company responsible for the financial part. It went to a company, a fund in Texas, where Eduardo Bolsonaro is living in a 6 million real mansion. It went to a company, to a fund whose manager is Carlisto, who is a lawyer. Guess who he works for? For Eduardo Bolsonaro over there in the United States. Then you might say to me, Andrea, but they said that from this fund, the money went to the movie. Where are the transfers? No one presented anything. Flavio Bolsonaro and Eduardo Bolsonaro said that from this fund, the money went to the movie. Why didn't they present the document proving the transfers? Because we know that any bank-related transaction leaves a trail. There's a statement. There's proof. That's why many times the thief, the criminal, especially white-collar ones who deal with millions, work with cash. Why, Andrea? So they won't be detected by financial agencies, especially by COAF here in Brazil, which does this monitoring. Where are the transfer records? No one has shown that so far. Neither Flavio Bolsonaro nor Eduardo Bolsonaro. Why didn't they open their bank records? Why don't they show their bank statements? No, they don't answer anything. They just said what happened. They don't show any documents. And when they're questioned, it's Lula's son, whatever else. The Volcker fraud is the workers' parties. The Workers' Party, which one are you talking about? And just making things more complex. Guys, those running, we've already lived in the world of movies. And it was for Daniel Borcaro. 3 billion reais. From Rio de Janeiro, it went to Daniel Borcaro. Everyone knew that the bank was bankrupt. This is a massive kickback scheme. They sent public money to Daniel Borcaro, and Daniel Borcaro had to pay everyone's share, and they used this movie for that, to launder money and to pay bribes. And that's why Flavio and Eduardo Bolsonaro went to the United States, leaving behind a salary of almost 50,000 reais here while serving as a federal deputy to live and flaunt the millions of reais he received there in the United States. I'm telling you, more than 62 million his lawyer's account received it from Daniel Borcaro. And Flavio was demanding the rest to reach 134 million reais. What was it? What power did Flavio have to demand that from Daniel Borcaro? And you tell me that Flavio is honest, then the problem is you. There's no way. Even Tony De Paula, who is right-wing, talks about this. And we have to point it out because it's a slap in the face to Brazilian society. This whole situation, guys. And the Bolsonaro supporters will have to endure everything that's coming if they want to keep supporting Flavio and Bolsonaro. They'll have to endure much embarrassment because you can't hide it anymore or pretend it's not happening with everything that's being revealed. And this is just the beginning.
You brown noser, you say you don't side with Lula, that you're not with Lula because Lula is corrupt. But if you keep supporting Flavio despite all this evidence, which isn't just evidence anymore, of corruption, then corruption was never your problem. You're okay with corruption. You just don't accept it from Lula.
Lula.
Your problem is Lula. Don't come here acting all moral, saying your problem is corrupt politicians. It's not, because yours is corrupt too. And there will be even more scandals, and there's more. He will be a candidate until the end. Do you know why? Because you who speak badly about Lula are giving him a free pass. You just told Flavio it doesn't matter what comes out, we're with you. So deal with what's coming.
For them, Flavio is just the guy who defends values. He's no such thing.
He's no such thing.
It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that. For them, he's the only one who can beat Lula. So you bootlicker, you say you won't side with Lula, that you're not with Lula because Lula is corrupt. But if you keep supporting Flavio, despite all this evidence, which isn't just evidence anymore, of corruption, your problem was never corruption. You're okay with corruption. You just can't stand Lula. Your problem is Lula. Don't come acting all moral, saying your problem is corrupt politicians. It's not, because yours is corrupt too. And there will be even more scandals, and there's more. He's going to be a candidate until the end. Do you know why? Because you who criticize Lula, you're giving him a free pass for being corrupt.
Yeah, look how much you've changed, huh? Yeah, because the Bolsonaro supporters, they always wave that flag, right? No, we're against corruption, we're against criminals, blah, 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 blah. And now they're giving a free pass to Bolsonaro's most corrupt son, whose scandals are only just starting to be revealed. It's about criminal organization, it's about militia, it's about theft, it's about corruption, it's about every kind of situation that will come to light. It is. You're all still going to support Flavio? Yes. You were never against corruption. You are against Lula. Maybe because Lula represents what you don't want to be. Poor people acting all high and mighty. Yeah, when you look at Lula, maybe you remember what you are. Poor people, if not in money, then in spirit, and only in spirit and money, but they act like they're better than others, right? And they're going to keep covering up for Bolsonaro's most corrupt son. The problem with you was never being against corruption. You found resonance in Bolsonarism, and its machismo, its homophobia, its racism, its transphobia, in its, yes, its misogyny. That's the situation that connects you to Bolsonarism. It's not about fighting corruption, because it's proven that the Bolsonaro family is corrupt. Flavio Bolsonaro is the most corrupt. Your problem is that you found resonance in all the bad things you have that were kept hidden in the closet, and now you can express them. And Bolsonarism gives you a chance and a voice, and you have representation in all that bad stuff. That's it. That's it. Did it sink in? No. Exactly. Go back to the closet, and it's already ugly. And the embarrassment you're going through is just the beginning. It's interesting, isn't it, that in the polls, the one who's rising the most isn't Caiado, nor Romeo Zema. Because you know that Flavio is falling, he's plummeting, right? So the one who's rising is Renando Santos from the MBL. He's more radicalized, right? And he goes hard on Flavio Bolsonaro. Since Romeo Zema and Caiado especially were covering up for Flavio Bolsonaro, they lost credibility. They aren't climbing in the polls. The one climbing in the polls is the guy who started at the bottom. It's Renan. And you know what I think? I think it's not enough.
Not enough.
And as I told you, I sincerely hope that Flavio continues until the end, as Congressman Otonio de Paula said, that he goes all the way. From the end of June until August 15th is the period for registering candidacies. And I hope he can handle the pressure and register his candidacy. Because that's what we want. More Bolsonarist, more Bolsonaro in his blood, embarrassed, and who is going to lose the elections. Obviously, he's going to come with all that structure from his father, right? About fraud, about I don't know what. He's going to radicalize his speech because he's already realizing, Flavio is already realizing that he doesn't have a chance to take down Lula anymore, especially because he knows what he did last summer. And he knows that everything will come to light gradually without any rush. You can't rush it or you'll scare the fish. He knows what he did and that everything will be revealed. So he knows he won't defeat Lula. What is he going to try now? He will radicalize his speech and will continue the coup-mongering his father tried to carry out, notably in the hope of having Donald Trump's support for this. That's what he's going to do. Don't have any doubts about that. And for that, if he has to implode or rather blow up Brazil, let him blow it up. The important thing is that we get back to power. Well, Andrea, but they say they're anti-system. They never were. As a state representative, Flavio Bolsonaro milked the republic's resources for 16 years. And now, for 8 years, he's been milking it as a senator. And he never did anything for the people, for the workers, or for anyone. Do you know what that is? Nothing except, by all indications, to steal, divert, misappropriate what wasn't his, and obviously support criminals and militiamen. And people from criminal organizations, which perhaps he is. And now there's no way anymore. It's going to be downhill from here. He's going to get more extreme, and soon he'll say he lost the elections because they were stolen. You know all about stealing, Flavio? Flavio, and your family too. And that's why they're desperate, because they know they're going to jail and that person's going to jail. Just like I said Bolsonaro would, I'm going to tell you, Eduardo's going to jail and Flavio Bolsonaro is also going to jail. Now I have my doubts. I have a question. Here, Flavio will have until August 15th to register his candidacy. Do you think he will really run for president? Because when push comes to shove, when things get tough, I don't know, honestly. I have my doubts. Because if he runs for the Senate or if he runs for federal deputy, it's very likely that he'll be elected. Depending on the situation by then, he'll run for federal deputy to make sure he gets elected. Because then he will keep his parliamentary immunity and it will be harder to arrest him. Yes, of course, there's no prohibition against his arrest, but there are a series of requirements and situations that would benefit him. As long as he has parliamentary immunity. If you think about it, when it comes down to it, right there on the last day, to register the candidacy on August 15th, he won't run for president. He does it to keep his parliamentary immunity. He knows he's going to jail. At this rate, he might even go to jail before the election. Depending on what was discovered, he'll go to jail before that. And he knows what he did. That's why I say he knows he can't beat Lula anymore. He knows what he did and what's coming. He's going to radicalize. The market itself and the elite themselves don't want Flavio Bolsonaro anymore because he's causing them losses. And soon he'll only have the noisy group of radicals left. They're the kind of people who connected with every ugly impulse already inside them and finally showed their true colors. And they're going to make a mess. If he isn't arrested first, I repeat. Very complicated situation. But that's how it is, right? You reap what you sow. Now, of course, they come with the same old speech. Flavio was questioned about the operation by the São Paulo Civil Police regarding the production company, right? The owner of the production company, Karina. And again, he and also the mayor of São Paulo were questioned. I'll show you. And again, they came to say that it's persecution. Oh, that it's persecution. That it's a fishing expedition. Oh, that it's this, that it's that. I don't know what. Let me tell you something here. The São Paulo Civil Police is persecuting Flavio Bolsonaro. They're persecuting Bolsonaro. They're persecuting the Bolsonaro supporters. Is Tarcísio de Freitas' civil police persecuting the Bolsonaro supporters? Como assim? Like they don't even change their faces. You know? But I'll show you. It's interesting that the governor, the mayor, of São Paulo, his hands speak much more than he does. His hands were nervous. His hands were very nervous. And Flavio once again stuttered. I want you to notice Flavio's body language, especially his face when he was speaking. Flavio is lying again. And I want you to notice who's behind him. Nicolas Ferreira is back there making this face. Look, Nicolas Ferreira knows that Flavio is lying again. Shall we observe the body language? Saying that the money was from a bidding process, that the money didn't go to the movie, that they're being persecuted, that it's the whole situation. But I'll repeat it again. Is Tarcísio de Freitas' civil police persecuting the Bolsonaro supporters?
Wait, wasn't it just the federal police?
Or is it that now, besides the federal police being communist, the civil police of the state of São Paulo under Tarcísio has also become communist? They're targeting the Bolsonaro supporter? It's hard, isn't it, guys? It's hard to keep that up because the one who authorized this operation was the São Paulo court. with consent from the public prosecutor's office, the São Paulo prosecutor's office. So now the São Paulo court, the São Paulo public prosecutor's office, and the São Paulo civil police, soon even the military police will have turned communist too. You know you can't keep that up, right? It's the same excuse they give every time. Trying to defend the criminal, trying to hide the crime, they attack the institutions. But now everyone is a communist. Even Tarcísio's state police? Yeah, it's tough. Let's see here. Let's look at the body language. And here I see Nicholas in the back. Nicholas knows that Flavio is lying. Look here. Pay attention here. Look, I'll make it bigger. Nicholas is back here. See? I'll make it bigger. And see if you got the same impression I did. Observe Flavio's face. He's lying. And back here, Nicolas Ferreira, look at his face. He knows that Flavio is lying. And Nicolas almost hides here so he doesn't show up. Let's look at this, guys. It's a shame. How long will people cover for this criminal? He definitely sent the contract.
And there was an operation against the production company, right? It was related to something that was done a few years ago in the contract with...
População. A notícia que eu tenho, que foi que a prefeitura publicou, o contrato foi 100% cumprido, nada de errado. A operação contra a produtora, né? Foi com relação a algo que foi feito alguns anos atrás, um contrato com uma entidade.
Which was about bringing free Wi-Fi to the population. The news I have is that the City Hall published it. The contract was 100% delivered. Nothing wrong, thank you. It was a contract made long before there was even any idea of a movie. So in theory, it has nothing to do with the movie. I don't want to believe that the police or a part of the police is being used for electoral and political purposes by using an operation like this. Not to see if there was any problem with this Wi-Fi contract, but to try by indirect means a so-called fishing expedition to try to find something that goes against the film about President Bolsonaro. Here's what I want to say calmly and confidently. There's nothing in the operation against the police.
Well, there was no calm and especially no confidence at all. Now he lied. Him saying that the contract was fully fulfilled is a lie. Karine didn't complete the contract and received more than 108 million, almost 60 million. He lied. Another situation where he lied was when he said it was from 2024 and that they weren't even thinking about making the movie. Lie. In 2023, the negotiations already existed. And then the agreement about the movie that they wanted to make the movie. In 2023, they had already started looking for resources and money to make the movie. So he lied on 2 occasions. The contract was not fully fulfilled by Karina, and in 2023, they were already talking about making the movie for Bolsonaro. And he said that in 2024, there were no negotiations, there was nothing about making a movie yet. That's a lie. So they're lying again. And the walls are closing in from all sides. And did you notice Nicolas Ferreira's face? You want to know something? Nicolas Ferreira will be one of the first to jump ship. And it will be before the elections. Nicolas Ferreira is going to, leave. He'll say, I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving because of this, this, and this. Flavio doesn't explain, and there's no way I can support this. It's not that he's the champion of justice and morality, but he's afraid it will affect him, Nicolas, and he'll lose votes. And even lose the election if he continues with this alliance. Because as we said, this is just the beginning of the revelations. And now Flavio is screwed and the noose is tightening. And as Tarcísio's civil police turned communist, guys, is that it? They're so ridiculous. Let's see the mayor now. The mayor saying that the bidding process, I don't know what, blah, 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 blah. But look here, the mayor's hand while he's talking here, while he's trying to explain the situation regarding Karina, notice his body language and especially his hands. It's a bit covered here by the banner, but you can still see it.
I've already heard about the event she organized, if I'm not mistaken.
It was nearby.
I went, I was with her, she's a great person I know, but she's not someone I talk to regularly that I keep in touch with. But at least there's nothing else about that. I know her, I think she's a decent person, a hardworking woman, a woman who's fighting like anyone else and knows Bolsonaro, right? So she's doing things, I've met her before.
Yeah, right? I know. Bolsonaro is going through this. Aren't you ashamed of yourselves? He's another one. His thing, he was like this, look, all the time. His hand was speaking for him. So, more tangled up than anything. And everything is going to be found out, guys. Meanwhile, this Karina is so good, but so good that now we know she also had a contract with Ibanez Rocha. Ibanez Rocha was the governor of the federal district. He just left office before April 4th because he's going to run for the Senate from the federal district. Ibanez Rocha was the one who authorized it, together with Paulo Enrique, the president of BRB, who is in jail and is cooperating with the authorities. Yeah, BRB injected more than 12 billion reais into Daniel Vorcaro's shady dealings. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Ibanez Rocha is another one, right, who will soon get a visit from the federal police. He also made a contract with Karina. Karina, producer of Bolsonaro's film and sole owner of Go Go, which was created to make Bolsonaro's film. She had never made any film before. She didn't even have authorization from Unseen to do it. She only got the authorization in June of last year. Look here. Dark Horse Productions had a 5 million contract with the federal district during Ibanez Rocha's administration. The Conhecer Brazil Institute, linked to Karina Ferreira da Gama, was running the Stream Make project in 16 public schools in the federal district. If you tell, I'll tell. She also has a contract in the Northeast. We're still investigating, but she also has a contract in the Northeast. Is it Andrea Gonçalves? Yes. Karina. Oh. Good people, right? Good people. She has access to everything where the Bolsonaristas are with millions. And smart, right? Because like she was very well advised. She had the company go up. She had another CMPJ and she had an NGO. She also got money from parliamentary amendments because she had an NGO, right? A nonprofit organization. To receive public money from amendments, support exemptions, and tax subsidies, right? Where this investigation, by the way, is in the hands of Flavio Dino, because it's already known that the executive director of the film, Mario Frias, gave money to this NGO, Bia Kicis, Carla Zambelli, Marcos Polon, and there are more. I forgot now. But anyway, they transferred the money from parliamentary amendments to her NGO. That's a coincidence, right, guys? Everything is on Karina. A multi-million procurement contract in São Paulo. Multi-million in the federal district with Ibanez Rocha. Multi-million, if I'm not mistaken, in Paraíba. We will explain this in more detail during the live stream, the 12:30 p.m. live stream. And soon we will also find out about Rio de Janeiro, right? Rio de Janeiro will likely be included too, since it's never excluded from these schemes. All Bolsonaro supporters, thank you. This Karina needs to be arrested. For me, she's a front. She's Mesquita lost all the win. And she created these institutions exactly to make it harder to trace the money. But there are more fronts. There are more fronts. This scheme involves billions. It needs a lot of fronts and many intermediary companies to make it harder to trace the money and to coordinate operations in several states. It's a big scheme. Very big in terms of criminal activity, of corruption. The people involved are all big players. And they're all white collar. And saw Senator 3, Representatives, Governor 3, and Mayors, Representatives.
Governor Bolsonaro is desperate. I just filed a petition with the Supreme Court asking Flavio Dino to request the sharing of information about this Instituto Conhecer Brazil from the film's producer, Karina Gama. You saw the scandal today, but why am I asking Dino to get involved? It's because there are also parliamentary amendments for this Instituto Conhecer Brazil from several members of parliament. That guy, Mario Frias, put in 2-3 million. Now listen to what Flavio said. He seems to be a bit confused.
I don't want to believe that the police or part of the police is being used for electoral purposes, for electioneering, and being used in an operation like this. Not to see if there was any problem with this Wi-Fi contract, but to try, through a roundabout way, a so-called fishing expedition to try to find something that goes against President Bolsonaro's film.
What do you mean, Flavio? It's the civil police of the state of São Paulo under Governor Tarcísio. But he gets himself into even more trouble. Look here.
The information I have is that the City Hall published it. The contract was 100, whoever saw it. Nothing wrong?
This guy is really shameless about how the service was provided. First, they had no experience in installing Wi-Fi, right? They subcontracted it. It was supposed to be 5,000 Wi-Fi hotspots. They did 3,200. It was 108 million. That's already a lot of money. They increased it with an addendum to 157 million. This is a major money laundering scheme. Come on, 61 million from expensive flights goes straight to Eduardo Bolsonaro's fund, Ravengate Fund. This production company had never made a movie before. It's the first movie. This production company had never even set up Wi-Fi either. And in the amendments, this amendment from Mario Frias even includes jiu-jitsu classes. It's a money laundering scheme. Dino getting involved in this, the Supreme Court getting involved in this, nothing will be left standing. All you have to do is track the money.
Flavio Bolsonaro. Yeah, I've always told you guys, you have to know who's funding Eduardo Bolsonaro. I've always said that to you here. You have to track the money and find out who's funding Eduardo Bolsonaro. Whoever is funding Eduardo Bolsonaro is involved in the whole plot surrounding the attack on the Supreme Federal Court, the attack on our sovereignty. And now we already know in part that Flavio collected the money that Eduardo received and still receives in the United States, money from money laundering, in which they used the movie as a front for money laundering. Bribe money, stolen money, and public money. This is becoming very clear, everyone. This is becoming very clear. Now, I've already mentioned to you the certain discomfort that Andre Mendonça's somewhat passive behavior has caused me. I've already mentioned this to you here. Flavio, his confidentiality should already be lifted. If it isn't, it needs to be. Flavio should wear an electronic ankle monitor and be barred from leaving Brazil. It's many millions, guys. This money can corrupt, can threaten, can, intimidate. It can cause a series of situations that will hinder the enforcement of criminal law in the future. And I believe that Lindenberg is also realizing this. And that's why he asked Minister Flavio Dino himself to get involved in this. Because from what everything indicates, amendment money went to the film, and who is responsible for overseeing this amendment part? Flavio Dino. And that's also why he called on Minister Alexandre de Moraes himself. So far, they have been notably involved with the coordination. And with the money laundering operation behind Bolsonaro's movie, it's a shame. Like and comment, like,